Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit focused, looking just at one review of the movie Spiral from the Book of Saw.
That's right. Just one specific review, published May 19, 2021. And our mission here is really just to unpack this one writer's take, What did they see? What did they like? What didn't work for them? All based strictly on what's written in that single review.
Exactly. So think of it as exploring one map of the film, drawn by one particular viewer. Now, this film, Spiral, it didn't just appear out of nowhere, right?
No, definitely not. The reviewer reminds us it's part of this huge franchise, almost 17 years running at that point, and it came after the 2017 film Jigsaw.
Okay, so there's history. But Spiral was positioned differently.
Yeah, the review notes it wasn't really sold as a direct sequel, more like a fresh take on the whole Saw world,
Yep.
new characters, and importantly, no Tobin Bell as John Kramer, which is a big deal for the series.
Right, a very deliberate move then. And the reviewer highlights Chris Rock as the new face.
Yep, playing Detective Zeke Banks. And the setup, as this review lays it out, is that Zeke starts investigating these gruesome murders, a jigsaw copycat killer who's specifically targeting cops.
Targeting cops, okay. And the reviewer mentions how it all kicks off.
It starts, according to the review, with a detective getting killed pretty brutally in a subway tunnel. That's the catalyst, the thing that sparks the main investigation for this reviewer.
So how did this reviewer feel right out of the gate, that opening sequence?
Actually, pretty positive at first. They described the first maybe 15 minutes as genuinely intriguing. It set up a mystery, seemed like something to solve, and crucially, it brought back the gore the series is known for.
Okay. Intriguing start. Always good. But I sense a but coming.
Yeah, there's definitely a but. According to this review, after that promising start, things went downhill. The reviewer's main criticism, the plot, they literally say it collapsed like a house of cards.
Wow, okay. Collapsed how? What was the problem?
For them, it just became way too obvious. Blatantly obvious what will happen and who dies, is the quote. The predictability killed the mystery for this particular viewer.
Right. If you see it all coming, the tension just drains away. And they blamed the writing for this.
Directly. Called it terrible writing. They really didn't like how the film, in their view, used these sort of standard flashbacks. You know the type, here's everything you miss.
Well, yeah, the exposition dump flashback.
Exactly. They felt the film used those to try and look smarter than it was, but it just came across as weak plotting to them. Now, they do acknowledge, hey, people don't usually watch Saw for, like, Christopher Nolan levels of plot complexity.
That's fair. It's a different kind of movie.
Right. But even with that lowered bar, this reviewer felt Spiral didn't clear it. The plot just didn't work for them.
Okay, so the story structure was a major fail for this reviewer. What about the signature element, the gore? Saw is famous for that.
They definitely mention it. It's pretty gory, earned its 18 rating. Dismemberment, blood, the usual Saw stuff is present. However...
Uh-oh, another however.
Yeah. They immediately follow up by saying it's not quite on the same levels of previous entries. It felt to this reviewer like it was maybe playing it a bit safe sometimes.
Playing it safe. How so?
Well, they specifically warn you not to expect Saw 3 levels of intensity. So yes, gore is there, but maybe dialed back a notch from the franchise's peak, at least in this person's experience.
Interesting. So plot problems, gore, maybe not hitting the old highs. Did this reviewer find anything they liked? Was it just a total wash for them?
No, surprisingly not. Despite those big criticisms, they still called the film pretty watchable overall.
Okay, pretty watchable. What made it watchable then?
They actually pointed to the editing. So the editing techniques felt very Saw, which helped connect it back to the franchise's feel and history.
Ah, so the style felt right, even if the substance had issues for them.
Kind of, yeah. And there was this little moment. They admitted they had a smile on their face when that classic Saw theme music started playing at the end.
Huh. See, sometimes the familiar stuff just works, doesn't it? Even if you have complaints.
Totally. It shows the power of those iconic franchise elements. Another positive point they highlighted was the director, Darren Lynn Bousman.
Oh, yeah, he did some of the earlier, really popular ones, right? Saw 2, 3, 4.
Exactly. And this reviewer thought bringing him back was a really good decision by Lionsgate. They felt his experience and passion for the series really came through in the filmmaking.
Okay, so the director's touch was a plus point for this critic. What about Chris Rock again? They mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, this was interesting. The reviewer said that after seeing the film, they learned more about how passionate Chris Rock was about making it, how he really pushed this through. And knowing that actually made them appreciate Spiral a little bit more in retrospect.
That's fascinating, how knowing the backstory after viewing can sort of shift your feelings.
Right. It wasn't just about what was on screen. But then, speaking of actors, there was another big name involved, Samuel L. Jackson. And the reaction there was very different.
Ugh. What did the review say about him? I remember him being in the trailers.
Yeah, well, the reviewer was very disappointed, just felt like he didn't really do much, appeared very little.
Really? That's a shame.
Apparently so for this reviewer. They even made a point of saying they watched Snakes on a Plane beforehand to get hyped for Samuel L. Jackson, which, kind of amusingly underlines how let down they felt by his role here.
Okay, yeah, that paints a picture. Watching Snakes beforehand sets a certain expectation. So let's pull this all together then. Based only on this one review, we've got intriguing start, plot collapses into predictability, terrible writing, especially flashbacks, gore's there, but maybe tone down some positives with the director, and editing. Chris Rock's passion helps after the fact, but Samuel L. Jackson is a letdown. What's the final verdict from this reviewer?
Well, it's pretty measured, actually. The takeaway seems to be if you're already a Saw fan, you'll probably get a kick out of it. They called it entertaining enough and basically a decent reason to go to the cinema for 90 minutes.
So not exactly a glowing recommendation, but not a total panning either. More of a it is what it is kind of vibe for existing fans.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well. A real mixed bag from this specific perspective, highlighting both those familiar franchise comforts and some significant frustrations.
Absolutely. Just one person's reaction, but it gives you a lot to think about.
Definitely.
So reflecting on just what this reviewer wrote, what's a good closing thought for you, the listener?
Maybe consider the tightrope walk involved in making something like this.
Yeah.
You've got a franchise, Saw, known for very specific things, the twists, the gore, the whole jigsaw mythology. How do you make a fresh take that satisfies old fans but also feels new? According to this review, bringing back an old director helps. Using familiar music cues helps.
Right, but maybe a predictable plot hurts, even if plot isn't the main draw. And star power doesn't always land if the role feels small.
Exactly. It makes you think about how all those elements, the legacy, the new additions, the direction, even things you learn after watching, all combine to create that one specific viewing experience that this reviewer described. It's complex, isn't it, how we react to these kinds of franchise entries?